Hey, it is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor, the first episode of Ask the Instructor of 2018. 2018 is going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year for all of you guys viewing this, and we're going to show you how to make it that way. And what we're talking about today, so last week we were talking about planning for your business, but one of the things I emphasize so many times every time we talk about the business plan is how you don't just create a business plan once. You're constantly reviewing your business plan every day, analyzing your business and tweaking your business plan as necessary. So that's what I want to focus on today. We're in 2018. You should have your business plan ready to go. You should already be out there taking actions to build success in your business. And what we're going to be talking about today is just taking a little bit of a moment of reflection every single day to analyze your business. And at the end of the week, going through and adjusting your numbers, adjusting your metrics so you stay on track for the goals it is that you've set. So stick with us. We've got a great episode for you guys today. I'm John Carissimo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate, and you're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Carissimo. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate, and every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we've been doing this for over a year now. We come to you live, to our current students, to our previous students, as well as our future students, to help you get a better understanding of the technical side of the real estate industry. And going through the last couple of weeks, we've been talking and doing episodes about planning for 2018 and making 2018 your best year ever. And I want to see that happen for you. I want to have 3 months into this, 6 months into this, at the end of 2018, you guys saying, oh yeah, this was my greatest year ever. Thank you for your push in the right direction. You don't no need to thank me. Just go out and make this your best year ever. But what we need to talk about today, this is possible, because what we were talking about last year, in 2017, last week's episode, was planning for the success. But one of the things that I constantly reiterate every time I ever mention a business plan is this isn't like a business school fancy business plan that's there to impress investors and then it does its job and you no longer need that business plan. This is something you review and reflect on every single day, and you adjust your business plan as necessary based on the changes of your business. Now look, you got to have your plan for success. You have to know what steps it is that you take that result in your end goal of closing a deal, which ultimately gets you to a certain income goal. You need to know what steps it is that you take. Otherwise, you're going to wake up in the morning and say, all right, well, what do I do today? You don't want to be wasting time thinking about what it is that you need to do. It's an easy process. Get leads, turn those leads into clients, get those clients on appointments, take them on appointments, write a contract, close the contract. You get paid. That's really overall, and yes, there's going to be little bits and pieces to that where you need to know it a little bit more in depth, and every situation is going to be different, but that's the basic steps it is that you need to take. You take the lead, you turn them into a client, you take that client on appointments, you do enough appointments until you get a contract, hopefully as few as possible, because if you're doing your job correctly, you shouldn't need to go show them 27, 28, 29, 30 homes. If you're doing your job correctly and you truly know what it is that they want, you should be able to show them 3, 4, 5 homes and be able to find one that they are willing to write a contract on. But then you get the contract and now you're closing. So it's a simple process, but you need to stay on top of how many appointments you're setting, how many leads you're getting, how many clients it is that you're getting. So you're constantly checking this and constantly reflecting on this every single day. Now, it'll get to the point where almost it seems like, hey, look, I don't need a written plan. I don't need something written to tell me what it is that I need to do. I know that I need to do this to turn a lead into a client. And you'll get to that point. If you're not at that point yet where you don't know what to do to turn a lead into a client, or how to go out there and look for leads, or market for leads, or whatever it is that you're doing to get leads, you'll get there. You'll get to that point where that becomes second nature of how to make that transition. But what you need to review the business plan for every day is the numbers. The numbers are what you need to be reviewing. The business plan isn't about as much as what it is that you're going to be doing specifically or what it is that you're saying. You're not writing your scripts. Look, this doesn't have to be detailed, but it's got the numbers on it. Because at the end, if you're shooting for $100,000 or $250,000 or $1 million in income by the end of the year, that doesn't just happen. It takes a certain amount of work. And what you need to be doing is understand that amount of work, understand that amount of action it is that it's going to take, or make your best guess at what that amount of action is. But now this is where analyzing your business comes into play, because what you're going to be doing is reviewing, okay, this week I set this many appointments, I had this many leads, I had this many this, I had this many that. So that way you get a better idea of the actual output of your business. And then when you see that you're not hitting your numbers, when you're not hitting those numbers, that's where you get into the details. Okay, well, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to fix so that I do hit my numbers? So what we're talking about today, analyzing your business. Now, this all starts with having the business plan. Now, if you haven't watched our business plan episode, we've done a few of them. Just last week was our most recent one, planning for 2018. We've got a great business plan calculator tool on our website, tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success. We've got a great tool on there that's going to help you understand all these numbers and be able to work with them. Yeah, you could do them with a good old-fashioned calculator, but it's a lot of extra work when we've got it all in this nice little kind of form. Unless you're going to go make a Excel spreadsheet on your own. But listen, don't reinvent the wheel. Take this free tool that we have for you guys here to work with this stuff so you understand what it is that you need to do. Then spend your time out there executing that plan. So in this business plan calculator, it ultimately boils down to how many leads you need to have, how many appointments you need to have, and how many closings you need to have. That's what it is that you're figuring. Because ultimately, we've got our output of this whole process, and that's closings. And that's AKA paydays. So that's ultimately what we're trying to get to, are the paydays. And then ultimately, even after the payday, getting referrals so we could feed that back into this whole system here. And look, this could get really complex, and try to keep this as simple as possible. The goal here of this exercise is to work with the numbers. And then it's separate that, okay, maybe you need to practice a little bit of a script of what it is that you're saying to people. And depending on your level it is that you're in, if you're brand new, you're going to need to spend more time practicing what it is that you say. But if you've been doing real estate for 10 years, you just need to focus on the numbers. But at any point, the numbers are always important, because this is going to be so you don't get to the end of the year and you're like, oh, I only made $20,000 this year. Man, real estate's stupid. No, it's not that. It's that you weren't paying attention to this, because if you pay attention to these numbers, you'll see, oh, wow, I'm falling behind in the number of leads I'm supposed to be getting. I need to do something to get more leads so I can still stay on track to hit my income goal. And ultimately what we've got going into this are leads. That's what this machine does. You've got a machine. You're building out a machine that turns leads into closings. And yeah, you're a big part of that machine. You definitely want to keep your machinery in shape. You want to keep your machinery top of the line, state of the art. And that's through a lot of training. And a lot of the other episodes we do of Ask the Instructor, a lot of things about some of these particulars, about handling a listing appointment, handling buyer appointments, and all of those things. And that's kind of the middle part of all this here. And that is important, don't get me wrong, but what we're talking about today, because everybody knows, oh, well, I need to know what to say. I need to figure out what to say. I need to know what I need to do. That's top of mind for a new agent when they're going on a listing appointment or going to take a buyer out to show homes. So what do I do? And a lot of times you'll maybe just ask your broker, well, what do I do? Or another agent in your office, well, what do I do? But what most agents, especially new agents, but also experienced agents, leave behind and forget about is the numbers. And the numbers are what set you apart from the average agent to a top producing agent. If you want to be a top producing agent, it takes a lot. It takes management to be a top producing agent. And look, you don't have to hire somebody to manage you. You don't need a manager. You just need to manage yourself. You need to manage the people it is that you have. And what if you say, well, John, I don't have a team, it's just me. Yes, you do. You do have a team. Every transaction, you have a team. You're the team leader. That's what you're doing basically as a realtor. You're the leader of the team. You're leading the team between the mortgage loan originator, between the closer, between the home inspector, between the appraiser, between all of these different parties that will get involved in different transactions. And so you always have a team. It's going to be different every time, which makes it more difficult. You might use the same lender or the same closing company or whatever that may be a few times, and that's where it gets a little bit easier. But you're always the captain of some sort of team. That's what you're doing, and that's really why you're getting paid. I mean, of tying all this stuff together, because if it breaks down before you get to closing, no payday for you. So, being that there's really a few steps here, so we've got lead, and we'll do them down this way. Lead to client. So, lead, just somebody interested in your business, or maybe somebody that you're cold calling, somebody that you're door knocking. There's a lot of different ways to get leads. Somehow you've got contact info for them. That's a lead. Now turning the lead into a client, and this is where, so what we're talking about today is analyzing your business. And you might have a few different ways to turn leads into clients. You might have a cold call lead. You might have a door knock lead. You might have a mailer lead. There's all these different ways it is that you get leads. And now this is definitely an important part of the process, but this is usually one of the processes that seem most apparent. Tracking this is usually what's most apparent to most real estate professionals, because they know, okay, well, I made 10 calls and I got one person that wants to work with me out of this. Okay, that's 10%. So tracking all of this here, okay, let's say we had 10 leads, that results in one client. 1 divided by 10 is 10%. So let's say this is 10% of our cold calls turn into a client. Maybe it's more than that, maybe it's less than that. It depends on how skilled it is. And this isn't saying, oh, well, you're only getting 10%, you need to get 25%. No, if you're only getting 10%, yeah, maybe you can improve that, but for the time being, and you know it's a great improver of that? Experience. And for the time being, you just need to focus on making more calls. If your goal is to get 10 clients and you know that your percentage is 10%, how many calls do you have to make? You'd have to make 100 calls, because 10% of 100 calls would give you 10 clients. So if you're counting on getting 10 clients, you know how many people it is that you need to call. Or let's say with door knocking. Let's say with door knocking you do a little bit better. Let's say with door knocking you get a 25% turnover. 25%. So now if you're getting 25%, and look, to show you the math on all this here, how would we figure something like this out? Let's say that we knocked on 100 doors. So we got 100 doors it is that we knocked on. And out of that, we got 25 clients. This is what you're tracking here. 25 divided by 100 is going to give you 25%. So that's what you need to pay attention to. Okay, how many actions did I take? How many results did I get? Actions and results. Take that number of results. Okay, I got 25 clients out of 100 doors I knocked on. That's 25%. So you know, okay, well, if I want 50 clients with a 25% conversion ratio, 25% result rate, whatever it is that you want to call it, with you getting 25%, you knew, okay, if I need to double this to 50, I need to double the doors I'm knocking on to 100. But this is something that you're tracking weekly, because over time you should be getting better. But also over time, you might, get a little rusty. You might start saying something a different way and you don't even notice it. So that's another benefit of tracking these numbers. You can say, okay, well, why is my door knocking percentage going down? What is it that I can do that'll get my door knocking percentage back up? Maybe you do a little bit of role playing with somebody and they say, oh, wow, they give you a different perspective on this that you didn't have, and you say, oh yeah, that's great insight, I'll try changing that. And then you go out and you implement that and you see if that has an effect. Maybe you go knock on 100 doors and then you get 40 leads out of that, 40 clients out of those 100 doors it is that you knocked on. So whatever you were doing there, whatever, maybe it was the neighborhood that you're knocking on, maybe it's the time of day, maybe it was just your general demeanor that day, you've got to isolate it down to, okay, what was it that was causing this to be such a better result rate than what I would normally get? And now, constantly analyzing your business like this will make sure that you're not wasting your time, that you're getting the most return on your invested time, which your time is worth a lot of money. That's really a big part of the real estate industry, of being a real estate professional, of being a realtor, is that your time is what ultimately results in the closings. And that's where a lot of agents are going to hit that threshold, that ceiling, where they can't get past it anymore because they only have so much time it is they can put in. And without adding other people or trying to maximize and minimize the amount of time it is that they're spending, that's the only way to kind of get past that ceiling there. So we're going to be talking about that, about analyzing your business a little more, going deeper into the process, because it doesn't just matter that you get a client. Remember, the ultimate end goal is to get to a closing. And that's what we're going to be talking about, analyzing the rest of this business and some tweaks and implementations you could make along the way to keep your business rocking and rolling. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. And every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. A lot of numbers that we talk about, because a lot of time people are afraid of numbers. And if you're afraid of numbers, don't be. Just start to work with the numbers a little bit. Start to understand what the numbers mean. What we're talking about here for analyzing your business. Now, this isn't something that you're going to see on your real estate exams. A lot of times we do the Ask the Instructor shows about topics that you might have in your course, but we've been getting a lot of questions of, hey, I just got my license. What should I be doing to make sure I stay on track? So, analyzing your business, and this is something you should be doing. When you're going through and retallying these, really you should do this every time it is that you do one of these activities. Maybe you do some cold calls, or some sort of calling, or some sort of activity that's meant to turn a lead into a client. Really, you want to understand this process, and let's get the rest of this out here. So we've got a lead, to a client, to an appointment, to a contract, to a closing. So every activity it is that you do every single day, if it's not something that you had outlined and part of your plan of this is what I need to do, if it's something like one of the big ones that people get really obsessed with when they just get into real estate is the marketing and the branding and the website and designing the perfect business card and all this stuff. And whenever you're doing these things, you've got to ask yourself, well, is building a website, is that going to help turn a contract into a closing? No. And this is your closest to your money. This is where you're getting paid here. And look, if you got altruistic intentions going into real estate, that look, I want to go into real estate to help people, that's fantastic. There's a lot of people that go into real estate. Most people go into real estate to help people. But you know what it takes to help people? It takes money. If you're And if you're not getting paid, that means you're not doing a good job helping people because you're not helping them get into homes. If you help them get into homes, you end up getting paid. So that's our end goal, is to get the property closed so we get paid and they get the home it is that they wanted. And then also we do want to provide a good experience so that way this loops all around with referrals and repeat business and this whole circle of life thing goes on here. But let's go back again. Let's say, okay, building out your website, making a perfect website. Is that going to help your contracts turn into a closing? Nope. How about your appointment? Is that going to help your appointment turn into a contract? There might be a little bit of that there. Not really, though. Not really going to help for the appointment of the contract. Where it may help is having a client turn into appointments, because a lot of things that a lot of agents do is they'll send out properties. They'll send out, okay, well, this property, this one just hit the market, this one just hit the market, and that's good if you're in the early stages of this here. If you've got a client that's relatively cold, but look, you don't need to build out the perfect website for this. It just needs to function. It just needs to work. They may be judging you because you don't have the flashiest, best website that's out there. But look, as long as it works, as long as it serves that purposes of here's the property, because that's what they care about. They might care about the design of your website for the first 30 seconds it is that they're on there, but once they understand, okay, this is how it works, this is what I need to do, I want to see the properties, because that's the only reason they're going on your website. The only reason they're going on your website is to look for properties for sale. They might be going on there to maybe find out a little bit more about you or something like that, but that's maybe 5% of the reason why they're going on the website. The other 95% is that, and that's what's going to help you get through these processes here, because if you've already got them turned into a client, if you've already turned this lead into a client, they don't need to find out any more about you. And look, you don't need to build out this huge extensive website to even send them properties. Just use the MLS. Just use the MLS. I know the little MLS portal, and they actually updated it recently. They updated it probably in the last year, and they made it look a lot nicer, and it actually looks pretty presentable now. The older MLS portal, not the prettiest looking thing, but it worked extremely well. So when you get access to the MLS, you already have a website. Yeah, it's not johnsellshouses.com or thebestplacetolivein Tampa.com or anything like that. Look, it's only important to have one of those fancy domain names and a nice website and really an effective, working website if you're going to be dumping thousands of dollars a month into pay-per-click advertising. But if you're not ready for that yet, don't worry about the website. You've got to focus on, okay, moving people through this process, taking them from a lead to a client, to an appointment, to a contract, to a closing. That's what you need to focus on. And when you get caught up, well, let me redesign my business card. Well, ask yourself this. Is that time you're spending redesigning your business card, is that going to help turn more leads into clients? Is that going to help more clients turn into appointments, more appointments to contracts, more contracts to closings? Is that helping with this process? You could make an argument for that, but when you really take a step back and ask yourself the question, is this better business card going to help me? They're probably not even looking at your business card. A lot of times you'll hand them your business card, the only time they're going to look at it is to find the phone number. So as long as you've got your phone number on there and maybe you've gotten your face or something to make it a little bit more memorable, that's good. Doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be pretty. You're not entering into a business card contest. You're entering into a closing contest. That's what your contract is. How many people can you close? Because the more clients that you close, the more money and more time you'll have to invest in these other parts of your business. But first and foremost, and really this needs to be your number one priority every day, is moving people through this funnel. Moving them from the lead to client to appointment to contract to closing. That's your number one priority always and every day, is moving people through that funnel. Nothing else pays you. Because even the marketing that you're doing, or even building the website, or designing your business card, or anything like that, that's just priming people for this process. That's just helping them get into the process. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's this process. And there's really easy ways to move people through this process. They might not always, again, be the best looking way. They might not always be the most effective or the most efficient. But look, when you're setting some sort of goal, and this is where this gets complicated, as your business gets more complex, as you start to rely on a website, look, having a well-built website with an investment in pay-per-click advertising is a phenomenal way to get your name out there and get this as well, because that's another way we could do this. We could say website leads, web leads. And you can go invest in, I say invest or spend money with Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com or any of these websites that generate the leads for you, but that's very expensive, but it can still work. And what you're doing there is you're exchanging money for time, because building a website yourself, that's going to take time. Again, you could exchange money for time and pay somebody to build out the website, pay for some sort of website subscription service that's going to generate you a great, effective website. We'll do another episode for the perfect real estate website and kind of talk a little bit about that, because really, it doesn't matter how it looks. It matters that it works. That's what's important. But once you've got that mastered, it is a great way to generate clients, although it's going to have a lower percentage. You might be looking at 0.5% of your web leads turning into clients, or maybe if you're lucky, you're at 2% or whatever that may be. But let's say 0.5% of your web leads are going to turn into clients, and that might be something if you're dealing with maybe one of these other websites where it's more competitive. Maybe if you're advertising on Zillow or Trulia or anything like that, maybe you have a number like that. It depends on who the people are that are coming to your website. If this is your personal website, you're going to see a number that's higher than that. Maybe instead of 0.5, it's 5%. So it depends, but again, you just got to track your business. So maybe you get 100 web leads and you get 5 clients out of that. 5 divided by 100 gives you the 5%. So you know, and then if you change something on your website, if you change the advertising, if you change all these different metrics, you watch these numbers to see if the change you're making is a good change or is actually a bad change. Maybe you're making your website a little bit prettier looking, but because you made it prettier, it's harder for people to figure out where they have to click or what it is they have to do, and maybe that causes a drop there. So it doesn't matter that it looks nicer. Again, what matters at the end of the day is how is it supporting this funnel. So you pay attention to all these different ways it is that you're turning leads into clients, and that's all part of your more complex, more in-depth business plan. Really, you'd have a couple different columns here that are going to kind of funnel into the one. All the different ways you can get leads, all the ways it is that you're counting on to get leads, because there's thousands of different ways to get leads and get clients. You have to pick the ones that you want to do, that you're going to be most effective with, and may that be cold calling, door knocking, flyer there, mailer and web. If that's what it is that you're doing, then own that. Don't say, okay, I'm going to try a mailer and see how that goes this month, and if I don't get any results, no mailers. That's not going to help you to your long-term success. You need to have persistence when you're doing the trial and error with some of this stuff here. You might do a mailer and send out 100 mail pieces and end up getting 2 clients out of it. Let's say, and that's even high for a mailer. Let's say that you send out, again, the 100 mailers, and really that 25 should be over here, and you get 2 clients out of all that, so that's a 2% rate. And now what this tells you here, and we've got these percentages, so over here we've got a 10%, over here we've got 25%, over here we've got 2%, and over here we've got 5%. Now, you could look at these and use these percentages to tell you what's most effective in obtaining clients. So you might look at this and say, well, wow, door knocking is the most effective. 25% of the doors I knocked on was a client. But now, at the same time, you've also got to weigh, door knocking is a little bit more time intensive, so I really can't scale this out any further. 100 doors, maybe I could knock on 200 doors, but I can't really do much more than that in a single week. I just don't have the time for it, or whatever it may be. Maybe you do have time to knock on 500 doors, but it depends. And again, this is your business, so you need to understand your business and understand where it is that you could flex and where it is that you're tapped out. Right here, for door knocking, you might not be able to knock on any more doors with everything else it is that you're doing. Which that's okay, but now if you need to count on more leads, so if we tally up the number of leads it is that we've got here, we've got 1 lead, we've got 25 leads, we've got 2 leads, and we've got 5 leads here, so we've got 30, 32, 33 leads that we've generated out of all this. So, or 33 clients that we've generated. If your business plan calls for 50 clients a month, and then that's where it's important to understand how this is going to turn into closings, because you might say, wow, 33 clients in a month, that's more than a client a day, that's phenomenal. And that might be, depending on your perspective. But if you're shooting for 500,000 or 250,000 or whatever your business plan is built down, and it says you need 50 clients, not just 33, now you got to look at this and say, okay, I'm falling short. So what is it that I could ramp up? Well, I could maybe knock on more doors, and that's maybe what we do in this situation, because if we double those amount of doors, 100 to 200, and we get 50 now we're adding an additional 25. We're going to be at 55 clients, and then we'll be at our goals. So maybe that might just be as easy as it is. You just make one little tweak like that, doubling the amount of doors it is that you're knocking, or maybe doing more than just 10 calls. Maybe you're only doing 10 calls because you don't like to do the calls, but maybe you find out how to like the calls, and then you do 100 calls because you could probably do that faster than the amount of doors it is you knock on. Yes, the return on investment, the results rate would be lower based on these numbers it is that we have here. But let's say if we want to call 100 leads, that takes half the amount of time that it takes to knock on doors, or a quarter the amount of time it is to knock on doors, because 100 doors, that's a lot of walking, that's a lot of heat, that's a lot of sweating. You might not be able to do more than 100 doors depending on the time of year here in Florida. And then also what you could look at, we could look at some of these lower yield, lower results ways of obtaining clients here. This mailer is only 2%, but the mailing, it's cheap, it's simple, and we could send out quite a few of them. It does involve a little bit of work still, but it's generally going to be cheaper than pay-per-click advertising and that type of advertising as well. So if you're getting a 2% result rate, maybe instead of 100 mailers it is that you send out and only get 2 clients, maybe you send out 1,000 mailers and you get 20 clients. So maybe that's all it is that you do. You're just tweaking that right there. Instead of 100 mailers, 1,000 mailers, you now have 20 clients. 20 plus 33 are really an extra 18. It is going to get us our 50 that we need, that we're shooting for based on our business plan. That's the importance of tracking your business and tracking what's working. And this you need to be doing at least on a weekly basis. You need to be reviewing these numbers every single day, saying, okay, I need to do this many cold calls, this many doors, this many mailers, and this many website leads today. So okay, this is what I've got to do today. And then once you get that all knocked out, now you can focus on these other things. Now you can focus on building the business, building out the website better, redesigning your business card. But first and foremost, always number one is moving people through these funnels. Once you've accomplished what you need to do today to get your pieces moved, your pieces in place for this, now you can focus on the other parts of your business, the more growing your business. But first and foremost, you've got to run your business. And that's what you're doing by paying attention to these numbers. And then again, weekly, you need to plan on going through, at the very least weekly, if not more than that, going through and tabulating these numbers, saying, okay, I've only got 33 leads this week. 33 clients this week. I need to get 50 clients this week. So now I have to go into next week. I need to make up for those ones it is that I have behind if I still want to achieve that goal at the end of the day. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about analyzing your business, maybe talking about the client to appointment aspect of that, and some tweaks it is that you could make in that respect as well. But stick with us. I'm John Charisma. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate, and you're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Charisma. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Look, if you're interested in starting or enhancing your real estate career, we are the place you need to check out. Just Google us. We've got thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, Facebook, Yelp, all over the place. People love us, and the reason why is because there's no one else that's going to do more for their students than we do. We started this whole Ask the Instructor. Ask the Instructor is where we started this whole kind of live streaming concept with, because we wanted to set up a platform for our current students that are in classes, our current students that are enrolled online, our previous students, as well as our students that are coming to us in the future. That's something we found out going into this show after we did a couple episodes is, wow, people that are thinking about starting a career in real estate are definitely interested in these shows as well. So we've been doing this over for the past year to help you understand this technical side of the real estate industry. We're talking about analyzing your business today, which is super important. Your pre-licensing course teaches you all about different aspects of the real estate industry. The Ask the Instructor episodes we normally do talk about understanding mortgages and interest and all kinds of stuff like that. But what we're talking about today is super important, because you could be thinking that you're doing everything right, and then at the end of the year, vastly miss your goals. And that's what happens when you have a lack of planning. You've heard the expression probably before, failing to plan is planning to fail. Failing to plan, not making the plan, not living your plan, not reviewing your plan, is planning to fail. And it's so frustrating when you say, well, I did the cold calling, I did the door knocking, I did mailers, I set up my website, and I still only got this much income when I really wanted this much income. So maybe you get like $50,000 when you were shooting for $100,000. A lot of people will say, well, $50,000, that's good. That's what most people make in an average salary. But look, you're probably getting into real estate because you don't want to be average, because you want more. So don't accept that as oh, well, this is just how it is. No, chances are you weren't on top of these numbers enough, because if you were, the numbers are what tell you if you're going to hit your goal. When you've done a little bit of research, and really all you got to do is just watch a couple of the episodes we've got, because we've got a few episodes on the business plan, work with our calculator, and even if your estimations and your predictions of how much action it is you need to take to get this much results, even if they're off, that's where analyzing your business comes in. When you're writing a real estate business plan, you're not just making a plan that you're going to write once, show to some investors, get some money, and then you're done with it. That's what most business schools are going to teach you about a business plan. What I want to teach you about the business plan is that this is really a guideline, this is a map of something you need to follow every single day. That you're reviewing every single day, that you're going back and you're looking at these numbers every single day and you're saying, okay, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. And okay, looking back at yesterday, I didn't do enough of this, so I need to make up for that today. This is something that if you're not paying attention to numbers, you've heard the expression, numbers don't lie. And these numbers are telling you the pulse of your business. You go to a doctor's appointment, what's the first thing they do? They check your pulse, they listen to your heart, they listen to your breathing. You take your car in to be serviced. They look at the mileage that's on it, they check the oil, they do all these things that make sure the car runs like it's supposed to, that make sure your body works like it's supposed to. That's what you're doing with your business. And look, you want to be reviewing this every single day, because your business isn't always as reliable as a car may be. Maybe it's, especially when you're first getting started out and you don't know how to operate the business. So paying attention to these numbers, paying attention to what works, and even if you've been in the business 10, 15, 20 years, you still need to pay attention to this to effectively manage your time and maximize the amount of income it is that you could generate, maximize the results of your business. Or look, maybe you're happy with the amount of income it is that you have, but you want to just have more free time. You don't want to be a slave to your business. That's the other way you could go about this. That look, I just want to make enough money and I don't want to have to be working 24/7. That's possible, but again, you have to stay focused on this funnel. And now we've talked about the leads and the clients, because that's where most people are missing the mark. That's where you're probably going to miss the mark that results in your closing number of closings, your dollar amount of closings, being so low. You don't have a full enough pipeline. Keeping a line of people waiting to work with you, that's ultimately the biggest indicator of your success. Because even if you have a low appointment percentage, even if you have a low contract percentage, even if only half of your contracts end up closing, the easy fix for this, the one thing you could always do is ramp this up. Ramp up the generation of leads. And then as time goes on, you'll learn how to be a better closer, to be a better preparer of the contracts, to get more appointments. You'll find out and you'll be able to tweak and revise that along the way. But especially when you're first starting out, where you're not too good at these parts down here, that's where you need to have more clients coming in. Because you'll have, maybe you have a client that they seem like a good client, but the expression of, I know we've been using a lot of expressions, but putting all your eggs in one basket, that's what a lot of agents do. They'll find a client. Oh, I've got a client. I'm going to go show them houses. And they'll go show them houses, show them houses, show them houses, show them houses until they buy something. But they spent 3 months working with this client, and that was the only client it is that they're working with. Would you be surprised when you don't make $100,000 at the end of the year, when you spent a quarter of the year working with one client that maybe resulted in $10,000 in commission? Yeah, that's a good payday, but if you're spending a quarter of the year making $10,000, 10,000 times 4, you're going to hit $40,000, which not bad. A lot of people are going to tell you that's great, you're doing good, but if your goal was $100,000, who's going to be disappointed? You'll be disappointed. I'll be disappointed for you as well. So that's why you've got to pay attention to these metrics, and you've got to review this and revisit this as much as possible, because then you'll be able to say, okay, if I need this many closings, if in order to get my $100,000, if our average commission is $10,000, that means we need to have 10 closings. 10 closings at $10,000 each gets us the $100,000 that was our goal. So as we reverse engineer through this, okay, well, let's say that we need 12 contracts or 15 contracts, and we need 50 appointments, and we need 100 clients, or whatever that may be. As you go through this and get to understand this better, you'll be able to kind of tweak this. But the key thing is that you need to be reviewing this every single day. And so one of the other things I do want to focus on, because we talked a lot about the leads and the clients, because that's the net. That's where you're grabbing people in, and that's where you absolutely don't want to fall short, because everything else relies on this first step of how many leads it is you're able to turn into a client. But now this will branch off again, just like we had this branched off up here, clients to appointments. Well, so we might have buyer clients, and we might have seller clients, and then maybe buyer and seller clients. We'll just deal with the buyer and seller here just to keep things a little bit simple, because this is already getting complex. But that's what happens to the business plan. That's why you want to try to keep this simple, just to tracking the numbers. Just tracking the numbers, and then you could say, okay, well, what do I do to get more web leads, or get more mailer leads, or to increase the amount of buyer appointments that I'm having? So let's say that out of the clients it is that you're getting, you maybe have 50% of them that result in an appointment. And with the seller clients that you have, you might have 75% of them that result in an appointment. Or maybe that's vice versa. Maybe it's 50% seller, 75% buyer. I don't know what it's going to be for your business, because everyone's business is different. Everyone has different skill levels. You might be more skilled with buyers than you are with sellers, or vice versa. And that's the importance of you tracking your information and tracking your metrics of your business to understand what you have to do, because this all feeds into this. You get one of these numbers wrong, you're going to end up missing your goal. You might end up surpassing your goal, but a lot of times what happens, and where you'll be frustrated with this, is if you miss your goal. But this all relies on your numbers being accurate. And how do you know if your numbers are accurate? You're constantly tracking what your numbers are and updating this accordingly. And that's where a lot of the business plans fall off. There's a whole thing called business risk. Business risk is the risk you have going into business. And the analogy I like to make with this is, hey, say you wrote a business plan. You wrote this business plan, said I'm going to have this much income, this much expenses, or maybe the real estate version, I'm doing all of this here. Most people, they write this business plan, they say, okay, that's going to be what it is. This is set in stone. This is the Word of God. This is the Bible. This is nothing can stop this business plan from happening. If you go into that with that mindset that your business plan is perfect and there's not a single thing wrong with it, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure. They have a whole thing called business risk, called that because it's not having enough income to cover your expenses. Having your business plan, spending all this time and being so prideful about your business plan and thinking you have the perfect business plan, only to find out your numbers were wrong. And you don't want to find out at the end of the year that your numbers are wrong. You want to find out on January 2nd or January 3rd that what you put in there isn't correct. Because then you say, oh, well, okay, well, I've got to make some adjustments here. If you catch it early, you're able to make the adjustments. You're able to make the adjustments and still hit your goal. And even 6 months in, even after you've made adjustments, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, as you're nearing towards the end of the year, you'll still have to make adjustments. That's why you need to review this every day and adjust it at least weekly. Now I want to talk a little bit more about a couple of these other steps here leading towards the actual close. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, so stick with us. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Carissimo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. What we do every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time is come to you live into your phones, tablets, big screen, small screen, wherever it is that you watch us, to our current students, our previous students, and our future students to help you get a better understanding of the technical side of the real estate industry. And this isn't a one-time thing. We've been doing this for over a year, and you can find all the previous episodes of Ask the Instructor at tampaschool.com/success. Again, that's tampaschool.com/success. That's our Success Center. You'll be able to find this business plan calculator that I keep referencing to. You'll be able to find all the previous episodes of Ask the Instructor, as well as our previous episodes of State of Real Estate. That's the show we do on Fridays to mastermind to grow your real estate business. But let's get back to the topic of the day, and that's analyzing your business. So, again, you have to understand that there's this process. This is the steps, the logical order in simple as form as possible. You've got to start simple, and then you start to complicate it a little bit. You start with simple. Okay, lead to client to appointment to contract to closing. Lead, client, appointment, contract, closing. You should have that process memorized in your head. Lead, client, appointment, contract, closing. Those are the steps it is that you have to take. That's the stages of your client, of your business. Okay, this person is a lead, this person's a client, this one's in the appointment stage, this one's in the contract stage, this one's in the closing stage. And the closing stage is where you get paid. So if you can move your clients through this process from being a lead to a client to appointment to a contract to a closing, you'll end up making money. Now, the details of moving them through this process can be a little bit more in-depth, and you can see how we complicated this here, even still kind of keeping this simple, but we're going through, okay, these are the different ways we've got established to turn a lead into a client, either through cold calling, through door knocking, through mailers, through our website, and we're tracking the individual turnover rates there, the results rates of all these, to see which one's working more effectively. Or again, to keep track of yourself, because this is how you manage yourself. If you're door knocking and your door knocking percentage drops from 25% to 10%, what are you doing wrong? That should be a red flag. That's like an alarm if you've ever seen one before, that you went down. You're less than half. Even dropping from 25% to 20%. Okay, what went wrong here? What happened? What can I do to make that number better? Because you don't want to blame this on the neighborhood that you're in. You don't want to blame this in the people it is that you're talking to. You don't want to blame it on the weather. And if you are going to blame it on the weather or the time of day or anything like that, change yourself somehow that you can manage those elements. So keeping track of this allows you to manage yourself and understand what it is that you need to do, because you know that at the end of the day, you've got a certain goal it is that you need to hit. And if you don't hit that goal, everything else doesn't fall in line. Everything else doesn't fall into place. This first step is the most crucial, because if you don't hit this, nothing else matters. You're not going to hit your goal at the end of the day. You might get lucky, and maybe these percentages, you do a little bit better job of contracts to closings or appointments to contracts, but that's not what you want to count on. That's why you want to have the numbers of your business so you know what the average percentages are, the percentage of result rates out of all this here. Like I said, maybe 75% of your seller clients result in an appointment, but then maybe only going from 75% of your sellers, maybe only 30% of them result in a contract. So let's say this is a listing appointment lead, and what that tells you there, really there's two contracts that you'd have in this process: the contract to get the listing and then the contract to close the sale on the property. But let's say for your listing appointments, you're only getting less than a third. You go on 3 appointments and you're lucky if you get one of those under contract. You should be going 3 for 3. So what that tells you is, okay, you need to spend a little bit of time practicing your listing appointments, but don't give up the appointments. Don't give up on the number of appointments. Stay on top of yourself for gaining the number of appointments, because the only thing you're going to do, if you're not hitting your numbers now, you're going to make it more difficult for yourself at the end of the year. Would you rather have more difficulty at the end of the year or be able to sail out of 2018 smoothly? Maybe you take the entire month of December off because you're like, I had a great 2018. I could take December off. I could take December off and spend all the time I want with my family and my kids that are out of school, or maybe fly to this place to take some sort of vacation or whatever that may be. That's the position it is that you want to be in, but you have to set yourself up right going into this, because if you're lagging behind in this year and you're missing your goals in January, March, February, April, that first half of the year, really anytime leading up towards the end of the year, you're only making it more difficult for you to still hit your goal at the end of the year. And what's probably going to happen is you won't hit your goal at the end of the year, because you'll still want to go on vacation in December or all these other things, and these other things will come up. So you've got to be proactive with this. You've got to start the year off right. You've got to start the first couple months right. The springtime is like the fever season of real estate. This is where everyone's got real estate fever. They want to go out to, and this is usually the busiest time of the year for appointments and showing. And June is the busiest closing month out of the year. So this first half of the year, this is where you really set yourself up well. It doesn't mean that after June you're not going to have any business. It's just that you've got so much low-hanging fruit in this first half of the year that you should be able to hit your goals. And even if you mess some things up, there's so much business out there, because again, anytime these numbers are lower, that just means you need to get more people into your funnel. And not every person is going to want to buy a home. You count on a certain percentage of people that aren't going to want to sell their home. As much as I'd like to say, okay, yeah, you get an appointment and you get 100% of them, there's going to be people that don't want to sell their home, that truly are not ready to sell their home. And you have to account for those. You could try to be the used car salesman and try to convince them that they need to sell, or that they really want to sell, or whatever that may be. But ultimately, what it comes down to, you're trying to get them to do something it is that they don't want to do, which just makes your job more difficult. So look, they say, hey, look, I completely understand if you're not ready yet, and if they truly aren't ready, you've overcame some objections and all that stuff you could do to find out if they really are not ready, or they're just kind of stalling because they're scared, or whatever that may be. Those are the people you can still work with, but you'll have the people that do not want to sell, that are not ready to sell, that are not in the position to sell. Maybe they don't have enough equity in their home to sell. And it's just going to make your job more difficult to try to get them to sell when they shouldn't be selling, or vice versa if you're working with a buyer. So again, you have to understand that not every single client is going to turn into an appointment or a contract or a closing. There's going to be people it is that you meet, that you work with, that you take on appointments, that maybe even have a contract with, that maybe don't end up, it doesn't happen for them. Maybe they don't qualify for financing. There's so many unknowns that this could happen. And the one cure-all, fix-all for this is having a full pipeline, having enough leads to have enough clients to account for these people that aren't ready, that aren't qualified, that whatever it may be. You still want to provide a good experience and say, hey, yeah, when you're ready, look, I know you're not ready right now, but when you are ready, I'll be here for you. And still give them enough of a good experience. Stay in contact with them. Stay following up with them. But those are the clients that you shouldn't be chasing after. What you should be chasing after is the low-hanging fruit, the easy clients. And so you're kind of prioritizing in that way as well. But really, just to kind of sum this up, and I mean, once you get into the contract stage of that there's just some things you have to do to kind of keep pulling everything together to make sure it does end up being the closing like it's supposed to. But I mean, other than that, really the big emphasis, in case you didn't catch that, is on this first part of the leads into clients. That's what's most important, the leads that turn into clients, and managing this. And that's through prospecting, that's through marketing, that's through a website, that's through mailers, that's through door knockings, that's through cold calls, that's going through community mixers and Rotary clubs and Chamber of Commerce events and talking to people it is that you meet, that handing out your business card. There's so many ways to turn leads into clients. And this doesn't mean that these have to be the only ways, because maybe you are just out and about and you don't account for how many people it is that you're passing your business card out to, but you just give them your business card anyways. Even though it's not part of your plan, that's okay, but do not fall short on your plan, because your plan is your plan for success. And again, the key thing is review this every day. Keep track of these numbers, of what percentage it is that you have as a results rate. Catch that early so you can make the necessary adjustments. You don't end up at the end of 2018, completely missing your goal. So stay on top of this every single day, review it at least weekly, and you'll be able to catch yourself before you wreck yourself. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. I hope you've got something here that you're going to go implement into your business. If you want to watch the replay of this episode, of the entire process of this year, as well as find our business plan calculator that will help you understand these numbers, that's all available at tampaschool.com/success. Write that down. It's tampaschool.com/SUCCESS. That's our Success Center. It's where we help you plan for your success. We've got an interactive business plan calculator. You'll be able to watch this episode as well as all the other business plan episodes we've done, as well as all the episodes of Ask the Instructor, State of Real Estate, and helpful articles to help you plan for your success in the real estate industry. Again, that link is tampaschool.com/success. If you're interested in starting your real estate career, check out tampaschool.com. We've got everything you need from our Success Center. You can get to that right through there, as well as how to get licensed. We've got a special website for that. It's licensefl.com. Licensefl.com will walk you through step-by-step how to get your real estate license in the state of Florida. We've got a great exam prep strategy if you're trying to pass your real estate exams. That's PassFirstTry.com. Again, that's PassFirstTry.com. Great set of tools to help you pass your real estate exams on the first try. That's our whole recommended strategy available on there. And if you've got post licensing coming up, check out PostFlorida.com. Again, that's PostFlorida.com. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a loyal viewer of Ask the Instructor. Take this information, use it in your business. Take it and try to implement it now if you can, but at some point, implement it sooner rather than later so you don't forget it. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you Friday for State of Real Estate.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.